Howdy.
Let's do it, boys.
Pack
Let's
attack.
go.
Let's
Pack
go.
attack.
Pack attack.
Pack attack.
Pack attack.
Pac meme.
All right, let me go to the title screen here. All right, we're going to take off in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
right off the bat here, we got serious time. This level is the hardest level in the
Pretty
game.
difficult level right here.
It is.
Good luck.
We got to avoid that ghost. Nice.
Oh, we did it.
Oh
All
my
right.
god, we got it.
All right, we're in
Very
there.
well done. Very well done.
That was like frame perfect.
Pretty
Just-
much, yeah.
yeah.
I'd say so.
Might have been a 17. I'm not sure.
So anyway, do a roll call behind me from my left.
I'm Joester98. This is Odd Beef next to me. He doesn't have a mic, but if he did, he would say to follow him on Twitter. So follow him on Twitter.
I'm Average Trey.
I'm Rob the Gamer 115.
All right, so our first actual level is Bare Basics. It's the Bare Basics.
Pretty much a tutorial level. That pack change required, but we can skip them later on in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the goal of any percent in this game is you just have to get to the end of the stage as quickly as possible. So, for the most part, there really are no mandatory collectibles. Some levels later, there are some things that you have to collect, but mostly in these early levels, it's just get to the end as quickly as possible.
And you probably already noticed he does a lot of these little spin dash type moves, known as a rev roll. That's the best movement option in most cases. And Kenny Cass is going to do some precise rev rolls off some plants right here. And some boxes too.
Nice.
Didn't die. We're
You
good.
can sort of like use the collision in this game to bounce off stuff with the rev rolls. And it's pretty fast. Very nice.
Alright, Candy Chaos is done.
Yep.
Yes, I think that power up that shrinks you to beat that level. I think that's the only spot in the game where that appears.
Yeah,
No,
there's two in
it's-
the game. That's the only one we're going to see though.
Yeah, the other one's at the beginning of what, Avalanche Island? No.
Yeah,
No,
but
Ice
River
Avalanche
Run.
Island. Or Ice River Run, yeah. One of the ice ones.
That's to get to the maze. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
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 Alright, gonna make this quick cycle here.
The hardest cycle in the game.
Yeah, there's no way to make an earlier cycle than that. You just have to not make a huge mistake right at the start, and you'll
Pretty
make that every
precise
time.
movement right here off these plants. He's going to go for waterless. Nice, you got
Nice.
it.
Nice.
That's good.
By rev rolling off that button, you get a pretty good bounce to bounce over that water.
Yeah, swimming's really slow in this game, so you want to avoid water as much as possible.
Yeah. You also want to try to avoid a bunch of ledge grabs as you can, as they waste about a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually possible to do that waterless skip without grabbing the ledge, but
Yeah.
even grabbing the ledge is still
That's pretty rare, though.
Still pretty good.
Yeah.
Just like that, we're on to the first boss.
Okay, so there's a pretty big abuse of invisibility frames running out you can use here. As you pause the game, the iframes run out. So you can essentially stay in pause mode. The iframes will run out, you can unpause quickly, get another hit, and keep doing it over and over again. And hopefully it gets a one cycle here. You should have it.
I think that's good.
Yeah,
Nice.
nice.
One cycle. There we go.
Now we're on to the second world of the game.
Bedoing Woods.
Introduces the platform, or the bedoings.
Yeah, these are the Bedoings.
Yeah, it may sound like a goofy name, but it actually is canon. They are called Bedoings. And
Not Bedoing Woods, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah.
Although I don't know who really says that. I'm sure
Yeah.
someone does.
So that rev roll he did off the crate looked simple, but he actually just skipped like half the level.
Yeah, your main enemy in this game is actually the camera. So pretty much in a speed run, we know how to get around the bad camera, but casually playing this, it can be pretty annoying.
yeah, the camera does not like
Even
to
in a
cooperate.
speed run, it can still do some janky stuff every now and then, but
Yeah.
very nice Bedoing Woods.
Yeah, some good RNG at the end there too. None of the ghosts were in his way, so you have to weave around them and avoid eating them.
Eating a ghost costs about a second, so you don't want to do that.
Yeah, ghosts are probably the only type of RNG in this game.
Yeah, it's a very low luck game, for sure.
That's probably why I'm bad at it. I'm all luck, no skill.
So this tree wood introduces saws, and it's very cycle based. Try to get through here fast with good cycles.
This is honestly one of the harder stages to get optimal movement on, I think. Like to go like the normal strat, it's pretty simple, but like really going all out, you really risk losing all your health, so you gotta be careful.
Nice getting around those saws. Sometimes you can
nice.
actually bounce right on top of the saws, and they don't actually hurt you.
Yeah, having 2 health is really good.
I meant to grab the checkpoint.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be good.
There's one right here.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was close.
You
Nice.
went around him?
That
Wow.
was nice.
So right there was a pacifist strat. You're supposed to butt bounce that bear to get rid of him because it'll attack you immediately. But if you rebel into him, you can stun him temporarily enough to get across without having to kill him.
Yeah, Nacho rolled like really low
That was,
across
that was pretty
ramp.
scary, but it worked.
I didn't think I was gonna make that one.
But that was good.
Now we're off to butane pain. It's almost the same thing, except it induces fire.
There's a pretty big skip at the start of this level. There's a secret area with a bunch of extra lives in it, which is good to farm lives for like practice and stuff, but you can just skip right over to it by revving around a death trigger there, and then you just get up to this area and skip a huge chunk of the level.
This is the first we'll see of the metal Pac-Man suit. You can bounce on blades and lava and not get to take any damage.
Yeah, we'll be abusing it later in a different level for a major skip.
Oh yeah.
Here we'll be doing what's that, drum ball skip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, you can skip pressing a switch here by putting that fire out. And if you go fast enough, you can just get through without having to put it out.
Yeah, you take like 2 hits. As long as you have like full health, you're good.
Unfortunately, no way to skip this.
Yeah.
Kind of slow, climbing around
Yep.
the side of this tree.
And for some reason, the ending is very similar to Treewood Forest.
I think they just copy pasted it.
I'm pretty
Almost
sure they did.
positive.
I
they
thought we
did.
wouldn't notice, but it's pretty obvious. Oh well.
Isn't it like in Butane Pain, there's like a section right around the end of the level that serves no purpose, and the only reason it's there is because it's there in Treewood?
That does sound like it's something
I
that
think
would be in the
so.
game, yeah.
I feel like I saw that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Nice camera.
Yeah, that's an example of the camera being weird.
So yeah, this-
Okay.
That's okay. So,
Uh-oh.
you could
just
Nope.
wait a sec. Probably.
Trying to like smack him in the air.
There we go.
Oh
there we
wow,
go.
there you go.
Good save.
Hello? Okay. There we go.
So,
So,
the,
yeah.
the camera kind of screwed him there, but what he was going for was getting double hits on each phase. He was sort of like hugging into him on each rev roll to get 2 hits on each cycle.
Yeah, and that only actually works on the GameCube version of the game. On the PS2 version, if you rev into the bosses, you just bounce back immediately, so you can't hit them multiple times with one roll.
Yeah, only the English GameCube one allows that. Not even PAL GameCube
Oh
allows
really? I didn't know
So
that.
that's the version that.
Hello?
There was a
So
weird,
yeah,
That was weird.
weird
that
slip
was-
there.
welcome
Good.
to Pac-Man World 2
Good.
physics.
Good beginning. Here we go.
So ice physics are very brutal, but they can also be used to your advantage. Because if you get stuck like slipping backwards on them, it's pretty hard to save it. However, you can do full momentum jumps off it using the rev roll speed and go pretty fast that way.
This level also introduces the worst enemy in the game, these rams, which
Oh,
just
yeah.
rev up and then just launch their body at you. They can just knock you right into the water, which will insta-kill you, and they're just brutal.
Yeah.
You can manipulate them to some extent by waiting a little bit before you release your rev roll, and then they'll target a different spot. So if you know how to avoid them, they usually aren't a huge problem for the most part.
There's a little
Ooh.
left.
Yeah, you can save that.
Reverend almost had me.
Pretty clean overall, aside from that weird slip at the beginning. I don't know what that was.
I don't know either.
But
Got stuck in like some perma roll animation or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Oh, no matter.
All right, next we got Avalanche Alley. It's the
Brutal.
snowball chasing level where the camera's
can
backwards on you the
be-
entire time.
this can be a pretty big run killer,
Yeah.
especially in the later section of this level.
Yeah.
Shadows this level being the hardest level in low percent.
Oh yeah, so this game does have low percent in which you collect the lowest amount of pack dots and fruits possible. And it's pretty crazy, but it is like, what is the lowest? Does anyone know? Like the lowest
Not
one?
off the top of my head, no.
I've never ran it, but I know it does exist.
It's like in low percent, you can actually skip this pack dot chain by using a really
Oh,
precise
yeah.
rev off the scenery, it's very, very difficult.
It is definitely not worth it for like a speed run, but
Not worth
No.
it. Doesn't save any time. It's just there to aggravate
Right.
people.
in low percent you got to do it though. So good luck.
Yeah.
I think it actually saves anywhere between 2 and 4 seconds over normal, like just taking it. Just
Oh, in that case, then why didn't you do it?
Yeah, it's easy. Come on.
easy peasy, no.
Literally free.
Yeah, try everything in this game's easy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
Okay, just making sure.
totally.
Just hold B and win.
So here we're gonna see the first instance of using these little wind things to gain a pretty big forward boost. That was a really good boost.
That was
Wow,
really
that
nice.
Wow,
was,
nice.
yeah.
And the skip right here to skip a B doing is known as pab skip.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
we can't say what that stands for on stream. Use your imagination.
You'll figure it out.
Nope,
And-
stop.
Oh!
Ah.
Wow.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. These wind boosts at the end can really just go out of control.
They make you go fast, but where you end up is I don't think it's completely random.
It's
Okay,
not
camera.
random, but it's very hard for a human to control consistently.
All right, well, at that point,
So,
it might
I
as
mean,
well
it
be.
may as well be random. But-
I opted to low roll that one.
You can play them safe, but like in like a PB pace run, you
You
want
just need to go for it.
We're good.
Save
You,
that.
you can go like all out on these if you want.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip another pack dot chain here by rev rolling
That,
around
one,
it.
that one's much easier than the other one.
That's a pretty good checkpoint to get, especially in a marathon.
Yes, I made sure to get it.
Because we have 2 more wind boosts coming up, like that one. Nice.
Oh,
a
that
good
one
one.
was good.
And the last one doesn't really have as consistent of a way to not get screwed over, but let's see how it goes.
That was good.
Oh,
Okay, should be good.
That's good.
We living.
If you actually get a crazy boost off that last wind thing, you can actually fly right into the red dot and eat this pack dot chain. It's ridiculously precise and it's
Oh,
only
yeah.
ever been done a few times.
I've done that like twice ever. The first time I popped off pretty hard.
Nice.
It was only in practice though.
I've never gotten it myself. Now probably everybody remembers this level.
Shoutouts to Ruse, the current record holder of this game, because this is by far his favorite level, and he's definitely the best at this level in terms of both full game runs and the time trial mode in this game. He's just a beast at this level.
And way back in the day, he even had the Twin Galaxies record for this level. Shout out to Twin Galaxies. But yeah, this is a pretty big change-up of game mechanics. We're on ice skates. And essentially, to go fast here, you want to go as straight as possible, as often as possible. But there are a lot of turns and stuff, so you can't really do too much. But going straight, you build up a lot of speed. So,
Also, this level has a godlike soundtrack.
oh yeah, this whole game soundtrack
Yeah.
is fantastic. One of my favorites. Even Abif is excited for that.
Nice.
He approves.
Yeah, so you can see, like, again, this is any person, so we don't need to collect stuff, but if you were doing 100% for this game, you'd have to get all of these dots and fruits as you go by, and turning around is a huge pain. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
definitely,
for sure. I've never managed to get 100% on this level.
Yeah, so casually, even in a speed run, it's pretty difficult, and casually, it's even worse.
yeah.
We're gonna skip this ramp.
Oh yeah, ramp skip.
We don't need it.
Nice, nice. That's actually pretty precise.
Saves like a couple seconds, maybe 1 or 2.
I think only like 1 second.
Takes 1
but-
second, yeah. As long as you have enough speed, you should be fine. with
Yep.
it.
Saves enough time to make it worthwhile, so.
Exactly.
In a level like this, for sure.
All these boxes I'm kickflipping, in the JP version, you can just run right through them. They have no like
Really?
knockback collision.
Oh, is that? Oh, wow.
I did not know that.
Very
So we may as well talk about JP. So the Japanese version of this game is essentially like easy mode. They made like the levels in some cases shorter. The boss fights take like half the hits.
Yeah.
It's pretty weird how they did that. It's version 1.2 of the game. I guess they thought that this version was way too hard for some reason. That like the Japanese players couldn't handle it, but
I mean, I couldn't handle it as a kid, so.
In the Japanese version, in the first world, the first 3 levels, every single pit is filled in, so it's basically impossible to
Yeah.
die anywhere.
It's
Yeah.
and because of that, the Japanese version is considered its own category from English and PAL. So
nice jump.
So there are a few differences with PAL. It's just not as major.
Yeah,
So we would keep them together.
I actually don't know anything about PAL, to be honest. But
There's a few interesting things in the later levels I can explain.
So
Pinky is a very deceivingly hard fight. Let's see how it goes.
hopefully the camera doesn't screw him here
The
too.
camera has to cooperate.
Also, the first half of this boss theme is the best song in the game.
And then just double hit right there.
Another single hit.
Single
And
hit.
a double
and
here.
Double hit.
Nice.
That was
perfect. Perfect Pinky.
That was great.
Yes, you can't hit the boss with 3 times with a single rev. So for that boss, you just hit Pinky once and then come back to the center platform, and then hit her twice.
All right, World 4 is probably the best world in the game, especially for speedrunning. It's got a lot of cool platforming, and it's just really cool.
I don't know. World 5 could give it a run for its money.
Oh, well, we'll have to see about that.
Yeah.
I'm on the edge of my seat for World 5.
Oh yeah.
I'm on the edge of my bed for World 5.
Oh, yeah. That's more like it. Yeah, just a lot of rev rolling off of certain, like, little bits of collision here to get across gaps like that. It's pretty neat how it all works out.
Yeah, so just using little bits of scenery or even like platforms and letting them tip and using those as ramps to clear gaps is a pretty big part of, skipping stuff and going fast in this game.
Also, that fence section was pretty safe there, because as you saw also right there, butt bouncing sort of extends your hitbox on platforms, so you can more safely land on like little thin platforms by butt bouncing on them.
Nice rev over that.
You can skip this bridge right here, like that.
Down.
This is kind of risky. Nice.
Oh.
Good.
That was good.
Sometimes the collision doesn't really work out there. And this last section right here is not even in the Japanese version.
Yeah, that checkpoint is just the end
That's
of
the
the
end of the
level.
level
Oh,
right
really?
there.
Apparently this room was too hard, even though it's not particularly difficult.
I'm learning a lot about the Japanese version today.
Ooh, there we go.
Get that nice
That's
little
the Pikachu
ramp.
likes pie rev roll right there. Shouts to him.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Dabbing on him. Very good into the volcano, by the way. That was
All
solid.
right.
It's
So
a
now we're going into the biggest skip in the game.
Second biggest skip of the game. Well, I think yeah. Right?
Yeah,
in
second.
terms
Second
of,
biggest
terms
game.
of time
Whatever.
saved, yeah.
Either way.
It's a huge skip either way.
Yeah.
Either way, he has to basically go ahead, make a very tight cycle here, clip into lava, and then get straight to the end. That's what I know.
Got the clip. Now he just has to make it to the end without losing his metal pack suit.
So the way this level is intended to work is you're supposed to go through a part and hit a switch and the lava lowers, and then you progress to another area and hit a switch and lower the lava again. But in that first area, if you move fast enough, you can clip out of bounds, and then you can just
Okay,
fall all the
not
way to the
over
end.
You gotta
Yeah.
play it safe here. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, we got it first try. Sweet.
First try.
So that saves what, like 2 minutes?
I think it saves like three
Three?
and a half.
3.5 to
Three-
4.
3.5-ish.
Oh wow,
minutes.
never mind.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. It's,
Even at the end, it's not safe because there's like a little invisible lava wall there, so you have to walk slowly through it to not take damage from it, or
Yeah,
die from
yeah,
it.
it instantly kills you if you
Yeah.
aren't too careful.
Magma Opus. Is,
Magma.
a great level.
it's
Yeah, it
something.
is.
It's got 2 nice skips in it. One coming up here.
Oh,
which-
yeah. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, so there's an enemy in that room that shoots stuff at you, so luckily Nacho didn't get sniped by that guy because he can knock you off that ledge, and then it becomes a little more difficult to set up using that as a ramp to skip that room.
He's gonna grab the metal suit here so he can go through the last section a little bit faster and skip some platforms that appear. Jump on lava too.
Yeah, getting the metal suit you would think would be slower, but it saves you having to wait on cycles later on, which ends up saving time overall.
So
Yeah.
this room is really slow without it.
The cycles right here, yeah, they're pretty slow.
Yeah, but with metal suit, you can just skip it.
And then shout out to C13, the old legend of this game. He found this little slide skip here.
So it's 12.7.
Looks pretty neat too.
Boom.
Nice.
And
And then bounce right to the end.
There you go.
Nice.
That's a very visually impressive looking skip.
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah, that skips like what, 50 seconds of difficult.
I don't know how
stupid
long the slide
slides.
is, but like it skips all the slow rolling down and stuff.
Yeah, thankfully the whole slide is still loaded in, so as long as you know where the landing pads are on the slide, you can just jump right down to them.
Now, we can all agree that this boss fight is extremely difficult casually.
Yes.
No one can deny
And
that.
speed running.
Yeah.
I did a semi-blind run on this before I picked this game up myself. And I think this boss fight took me 50 minutes alone.
Oh my.
I mean, I could just be really bad, but it is really
I know when I
difficult.
first played this game as a kid, I got walled here for
Oh, yeah.
probably 4 years, I feel like.
About the same for me, yeah.
I mean, it's not easy.
So it has 5 phases, and each one has a double hit. The double hit's not intended for each phase, though, so you gotta have like really precise hits for the second one.
Yeah. Also, as these phases go on, his hitbox that you can actually bounce on actually gets smaller and smaller, so it becomes harder and harder to not just get the double hit, but just to get the first hit to begin with.
By the 4th and 5th phase, it's like the size of a Tic Tac. It's really hard to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a strat that people started to do in runs, but was done pretty heavily in the TAS. It is actually one of Clyde's eyes, I think it's his left eye, has collision, and so you can jump on his eye and get up to the top of him and then bounce on his head and skip all this waiting around, and it saves an enormous amount of time, but those
It's
are pretty difficult.
So difficult, and if you screw it up, you die, so it's definitely not marathon safe.
And you got 4th phase. That's probably the hardest phase because there's not really like a setup for it.
Yeah. I also want to point out that this is Clyde, but Clyde in the original Pac-Man is the orange ghost and not the red ghost.
Oh yeah, this is fake Clyde.
They're mixed up in this
Yeah,
game.
they mixed up Blinky and Clyde in this game.
They mixed up Blinky and Clyde in other games too.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
true.
how that happened.
This wasn't the
but
first one to mix them up, but somehow like Namco forgot their original game. Like it's
you
kind
would
of
think
weird.
you would think they would keep
Nice.
That
track.
was a good Clyde. That was a good Clyde.
But yeah, Joester mentioned the task earlier. Shout out to the Ruse man who made that, and also I think he made like all the I-bound strats and stuff. So
It's very impressive.
The TAS is a really, really good watch.
Yeah.
I would recommend watching it immediately after this run.
All right, now for
So
the
everyone's-
best world in the game,
best world in the game.
auto scroller.
Although the first 2 levels are not like true auto scrollers, they're more so on the rails, I'd say,
Yeah, they're like
because you have to rhythmically tap the B button to boost and also avoid mines and stuff.
However, we will see Nacho take a little bit of mine abuse to try to boost forward, and hopefully we'll get at least one good showing of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
either this level or
mine
the next.
boosting is no simple task, but you can. There are a few setups for them.
Yeah, so if you take damage, and then while you're still invincible, if you spin into a mine, it can propel you forward and just give you a bit of speed. Also, the sharks in this level, they're one-hit kills, but they're so easy to avoid that
Yeah,
they're never really
as long
a
as you're
threat.
just boosting, they're never gonna touch you.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more mines in the next level, I think, so it's easier to set up boosts in that one.
Yeah, there's like a few specific mines I go for here. Here's one coming up I go for.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna hit these eels and then hopefully get a mine boost right here. Nice.
Nice.
That's a good
So
mine boost.
propelled him forward a little bit and saved.
It's very subtle, but it saves just ever so little on like
Yeah,
a
each mine boost saves probably like a second and a half.
yeah.
And in a level that's kind of as straightforward as this one, that's is pretty significant.
Definitely helps, yes.
Yeah.
That was well.
That wasn't really one.
Kind
It
of.
looked like kind of one, but
Kind of shot me downwards.
I think it had the potential. You just
Yeah.
gotta nurture it.
for sure.
Yeah, it all depends on the angle that you hit the second mine with. And that depends on what direction you go.
But also, yeah, mine boosting. You gotta watch your health if you're going for them.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do on these levels is die.
Yeah, one nice thing is they have health wedges kind of scattered across, and also in this game, for every 50 pack dots you collect, you get a wedge of health back. So sometimes if you're running low on health, or if you're going for a lot of mine boosts, you can detour just a little bit out of the way to get those extra dots, so you can get some health back. Because dying in these levels is pretty bad, seeing as there's minimal ways to speed up how to get through these levels.
Yeah, with how sporadic the checkpoints are as well. It doesn't help.
Alright, so if you thought that level was riveting, you're gonna love the next level because it's almost the exact same thing.
They're really mixing it up here.
Yeah,
with Strike Attack.
The developers got really creative here.
Yeah.
I think World 5 was more or less just like padding early game.
I think, yeah, they realized, oh, the game's not long enough.
I mean, you have to get to Ghost Island somehow.
Although to be fair, like we're going through pretty fast because of the speed run, but casually, this is a pretty challenging game. It can take several hours to get through for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even without these levels, it can.
So like relative to the rest of the game, if you're playing it casually, these might seem pretty short, but for a speedrun, they seem much longer. That was a good mind boost.
It's alright.
Any mind boost is a good mind boost.
Yeah.
From what I see. Better than nothing.
Very true.
Okay, so we mentioned actually PAL earlier, and in the previous level and in this level, you actually swim a lot faster in the PAL version for some reason, and so it saves a lot of time in those levels. But
Oh, I didn't know that.
unfortunately, it loses too much time in the rest of the game, so it's not worth it to run on the PAL version, sadly.
Yeah, I would say about 20 seconds per level is what you save running PAL over US. It's pretty significant.
But then PAL loses that time elsewhere, so.
Right, like you can't do the boss tricks, so that loses you time.
That being said, if somebody wants to find a skip for World 5, do it.
Yeah.
Please?
We're begging you.
Go for it. Just find it.
There's a really obscure happening that has happened to a few people where they beat the first level and then all of a sudden the rest of the levels are unlocked, like some obscure.
Didn't that happen to Cup of Joe?
Yeah, some obscure like dev code or something that just unlocked every level. Now that would probably make any percent in this game pretty dumb because it would be like less than a minute long because you would just beat the first level and then go to the final boss and win. But
Yeah, didn't you guys know I have world record in this game? 3 minutes, 56 seconds?
That's insane. Oh,
Yeah.
mind boost right there.
that's a good mind boost.
That's like a double mind boost.
It's
There's like
on-
two of them.
It's on YouTube, therefore it's very legit.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
There is no. Well, never mind. No history of splicers in this game. Wow.
Wow.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, so this next level is really riveting, so I think Nacho might need a little bit of help.
I do.
Yeah,
Rob, you want to
so-
get up here?
Yeah,
yeah.
let's just go join you up here.
Let's try this out.
Let's make
Let's
things
make this
a
happen.
bit more
Oops, sorry,
interesting.
whoever's foot I just
Oh, you're
stepped on.
good. You're good.
Alright, let's do this.
Yeah,
I'll
so,
keep Torch at company, I guess.
so this
Go
level,
for
so
it.
this level was apparently added very late to the game in development, and it's a extremely riveting 8-minute auto scroller.
Yep.
That is basically the
You did
exact
not-
same thing over and over again.
You did not hear that wrong. It is actually 8 minutes.
Yeah, the,
Well,
yeah,
technically 7 minutes, 47 seconds.
Well, yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
the world record in this game is 42 minutes, and this level alone is 8 minutes. So almost 20% of the run is just this one level, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
The hardest part about this level, honestly, is not falling asleep. The record holder, Ruse, has actually fallen asleep in this level during attempts and died as a result of it. So you just gotta kind of pay attention because it's like it's an auto scroller, but it's not hard at all. But if you stop paying attention, you get comboed by these ghosts and these mines, and then all of a sudden you've just died and lost a minute, and then you get really angry.
Yeah, it's not hard once you figure out like the way to sort of set up the shots to shoot the submarine enemies, because they can like sort of multiply on you and build up if you don't know like how to shoot them properly. But any speedrunner should know how to take them out pretty easily.
By the way, you'll notice we're hitting a lot of the mines that we could just avoid. Me and Nacho have decided that we're going to donate $1 for every 1,000 points we get. So we're going to try
So
to get that
just
as high as possible.
Go all out.
Yeah, that's what we're going to try to do.
And so
Yep.
breaking mines gives you points, and then
Breaking anything pretty much
and
gives
then
you points.
getting the fruit also gets you points, which is actually one of the funny parts about this level. Is again, it's 8 minutes, and there's like a bunch of cherries and then I think a couple apples that spawn in mines, and it's actually possible that the game will just not spawn them. And how 100% in this game works is if you don't get every single item on your first playthrough through the level, when you go back to the level, you have to get everything again. So even if you played through this and you missed, let's say, an apple, when you came back, you'd have to get everything again, even the stuff that you actually got all of the items for. And so if you're running kind of, a max completion category for this game, and you miss one of those, then you have to do this whole 8-minute level all over again.
And also sometimes the tokens don't all spawn. Is that right?
Correct.
Yes, on this book, tokens cannot spawn.
You can force
Which
them
is
to
always
spawn by
great.
death abusing, but it's
Yeah, yeah.
painful.
Yeah, the more time you have to spend in this level, the worse. So generally, it's just never fun when the game decides to not spawn stuff, and there's really nothing you can do about it.
Also, if you ever thought you completed this level completely, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. For some reason, once in a while, despite their game saying there's only 5 oranges in the level, a 6th orange can be spawned and collected.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So you end up with 104%. The best part about that is the way the game works is there's 8 physical tokens in each level, and then you can get 1 token for getting 100%. If you get 104%, you don't get the 100% token.
Because it's not 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just so silly.
Also, it's something that Nacho really doesn't have to
Yeah,
worry about
look at
here,
the
but
health.
there's a weird glitch that happens on this level if you actually get nothing, if you get none of the cherries, none of the oranges, and none of the apples. So you'd think the game would just give you 0% for the level, but for some reason it actually gives you 40%. And then when you spawn back in on the map, you're stuck in place for like 5 or 6 seconds and can't move at all. And so he just has to make sure he collects one thing, which obviously is really, really easy.
It's pretty hard to like miss everything. So
I didn't
Yeah.
think that was on the US version. I thought that was only on PS2 version.
I feel like it's on all versions.
I've never even heard
Right.
of that, so.
I think it was mentioned in the comments for the TAS. On the PS2 version, you get stuck in place when you 100% a level, and so beating bosses counts as 100%ing a level. So after every boss on the PS2 version, you're just stuck in place on the map for 5 seconds, and it's really dumb.
Huh.
So that's the apple being in the sand.
Oh yeah.
I didn't see it until we just passed it.
Well, we finally got the gunner.
This is
That's the halfway point.
this
of
is
the level.
this is the pew pew gun.
This is when I go from mashing A to just holding B.
This thing is pretty overpowered.
It'll make this level such a breeze now.
Yeah, it actually counts as like an extra like hit point. So if you get hit, you'll just lose it, but you'll still have full health. But it's again, if you have this and you're spamming fire, getting hit by stuff is pretty much impossible unless you just run into stuff.
I think we have time for like 1 or 2 donations, and I'm going to explain the next boss fight before we get to it.
You got it. We've got $50 from Char Bunny saying the ice skating level was my favorite as a kid. This is such a fun run. Keep it up. Also $5 from PK Frenchie 64.
Oh, PK Frenchie, what's up?
Says good luck Nacho on the run. Glad to see this is finally at AGDQ, and shout out to all the 2-pack people there. I'll donate $50 more if Nacho gets 1 cycle on the whale.
Oh baby.
Oh.
All right, so that's a good transition to what I'm going to say. So for the upcoming boss fight, because it's going to go by so quickly, I'm going to explain it right now. So it's a whale with 4 propellers on the back with 9 HP each. So he has to make a setup where he shoots each one precisely 8 times and then hits 1 hit on each, all 4 of them within like a split second before he goes away, and that's a 1 cycle. Just to like give an idea of how hard that is, originally only a 2 cycle was thought to be viable, and even that was really hard. You had to grind that out and really like learn the setup for that. But very recently, like about a year ago or so, the reason I came back to doing attempts of this game, and he ended up finding an RTA viable 1 cycle setup after like a lot of testing things out and a lot of setups and stuff. And it's probably 10 times harder than a 2 cycle. You can literally grind out 1 cycle for like 2 hours and get it like twice ever maybe. It really sucks.
Yeah, 1 cycle was like technically possible for a while.
Because
Ruse,
the task did it.
yeah, Ruse had
originally.
grinded it 1 cycle whale for, I think it took him 10 hours to get it 1 time on console, and he was the only person to ever get it. But he fortunately kind of just went in when he was thinking about tasking the game and looked for a better setup and found that one that works way more consistently than that. It's still very difficult to pull off, but it isn't. It went from being something that's just a pipe dream to something that should be expected at like the very top level.
As soon as you like knock off one of the blades, you literally have like 1 to 2 seconds to hit like the rest of the 3 before he like flies away, and you gotta like wait 30 more seconds, and then
Yeah, because the way the fight's supposed to work is you shoot out one of the propellers, and then he moves away for 30 seconds, and then he comes back, and you shoot off another one, and then he goes away. and
yeah,
rinse,
the
repeat.
intended thing is 4 cycles, but that's obviously a lot slower.
And he also, on each cycle, he actually moves further and further away from you, and so it becomes harder and harder to actually hit him with your shots, because he's kind of rotates around the screen in the background, and so actually hitting him while he's doing that, and he's really far away from the screen, is actually pretty difficult.
So even if he gets like 3 propellers the first phase, then 1 more, that's very impressive. Like the 1 cycle would be good for the donation, but
Yeah.
and the hype, but
Yeah, And also,
It's very difficult.
and also shout outs to PK Frenchie for the donation earlier. He's another really good runner of this game.
He's a high-level runner of this game.
And he's a really cool dude.
All right. Thank you, Rob, for the help. I appreciate it.
Is that it?
Give it
We're
up.
done.
2 players, 1 controller.
Yeah. Hardest level in the video game.
By the way, basically, regardless of what time he gets, it's co-op world record.
Yeah.
Because I think
yeah,
that's
that
the
would-
only
I
co-op
believe-
run that's ever done.
That's a tied world record right
Yeah.
there.
Also, where the whale starts in his cycle, this is something that Trey found. Depends on how long you spend on the map screen, so he wants
Oh,
to
yeah.
enter the level as quickly as possible. Which you always want to do, but here it's especially important. All right, we'll be quiet for this.
Yeah,
This is serious.
it's
time.
serious time. Okay,
We got 3.
He got 3.
We got
It's still pretty
3.
good.
That's still really good.
Yeah, I think I cut it too far to the left there at the beginning.
Yeah, so
no
he just
matter.
missed clipping the upper right propeller there. So this will be still a quick 2 cycle. Just when it comes back, he'll just hit it with 9
Yeah,
shots.
if
and
you
that'll
got
be it.
only 2 there, it's really hard to like back up the 2 cycle and getting 2 more, because there's really no setup for that. So getting 3 is really good.
Gotta wait for him.
Yeah, especially if the 2 that are left, I think if they're diagonal from each other, it's really hard to hit both of them. Also, loud sound incoming when he beats the
Oh
boss.
yeah.
Oh,
Headphone users beware. Wait, we have headphones on.
Oh,
Yeah.
we better watch out.
there it goes.
Oh, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet.
Yeah, it's louder if you explode the super bomb at the same time.
2 cycles, very respectable.
Yeah,
That still saves like a minute over the intended way.
yeah.
Yeah.
It still looks pretty impressive too. Just knocking 3 of them off casually at once.
Now we're finally on to the best world.
Spooky world.
Yeah, this is Ghost Island, which is actually the hub world from the first game, but it's the end of this game with some of the the trickier levels with some kind of spooky ambiance here.
So now Pac-Man's on rollerblades, and he's got to do some platforming and not get hit enough to die, hopefully.
Yeah, there's a lot of bats and ghosts in this level that can hit you, and also the water in this level instantly kills you. And there are platforms that start to fall down, like these pillars actually fall down. So you have to be a little careful, especially later in the level. There's also not a lot of checkpoints in this level, so death is not very good.
This is probably one of the very best well-designed as in terms of progress. As you saw in the first section, before the checkpoint, it was all flat and everything was easy to jump across. Now we got this section, which is lowering the platforms. The third section, so it's in 4 sections. The third section is not falling anymore, but the jumps are a lot tighter. And then the 4th section combines both falling platforms and tighter jumps.
Yeah, it's a good progression of difficulty in this level. Also, you'll notice for the platforms that fall, these pillars on the side are not solid, so you can cut through them and cut some corners.
That makes this level easily my favorite level in the game. So
So these stairs are a pretty tricky section to navigate. That was really clean. It's possible to just get stuck underneath those stairs, and then they just pin you into the
Oh,
water,
yeah.
and you die, and it's really bad.
And it's right before a checkpoint too.
Yeah, so it's
That really
it's
sucks.
a pretty big time loss if you get stuck under those. But that he got up those stairs really cleanly, which was nice. I actually think this, aside from the yellow pack marine, which is the long auto scroll, I think this is the longest level in the game. I think it's just
Yeah, I believe so.
it's just long enough to make the level music not loop.
It feels like Avalanche Alley is longer, but I think it's just because this level's more fun.
Also, don't accidentally hit that Galaxian, because
Oh yeah.
you enter a maze, and that's not good.
No,
at
the
all.
mazes are awesome.
Luckily you can't exit it,
Yeah.
but it still wastes a few seconds.
yeah, but the mazes are so much fun. That's what Pac-Man's known for. We got to get at least one maze in here, right?
That's a good point. You'd think there'd be a maze in here somewhere, but
Also, that pillar that Nacho just jumped off of, if you jump at the right side of that and grab the ledge, you're just dead, because it's actually impossible to get back up, because the pillar will fall away from you as you're trying to ledge grab to get back up, and you just can't get back up, and so you just fall slowly to your impending doom.
Just getting here to the final section.
There's also a weird glitch that can happen on this level where
Ooh.
if you cancel your butt bounce, which is tapping A while you're in the air, with a kickflip, the next time you jump, you'll butt bounce immediately, and the next time you're jumping is about 99% of the time over a pit, and so that will just kill you, and Trey knows all about that.
Oh yeah, butt bounce storage. Yeah, before we knew what caused that, I lost like 2 world record pace runs to that in a row. And then Pikachu Likes Pie actually figured out what causes butt bounce storage, so thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
You can use that apple for unlocking a chest later on.
Yeah, we didn't really go over it that much, but all throughout this game, if you're 100%ing, you have to get certain fruits in order to open chests and other things. And they're not required for any level, I think, except for this one where you need to open an apple and what is it, a cherry?
Yeah,
Yep.
cherry.
Okay, I
It's
wasn't sure if it was
it's
cherry
very
or
odd
strawberry.
that only in this level they would ever require you to use that mechanic. But
You gotta mix it up.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, which is why we're getting the cherry there from the skeleton as well.
Yeah.
That uses the cherry and that uses the apple. That's what you need to get progress. Why are you facing that way for?
Again, camera is fantastic.
Not unlike World 1. World 1, if you once you open the chest, that apple would go away. But luckily in World 2, that doesn't happen because we're gonna have to use which one is it? One of the fruits in order to open another thing.
Yeah,
You use the apple again. Oh no, the cherry right
The
here.
cherry again, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you use both of them actually multiple times in this level.
Oh
Yeah.
right,
But
yeah.
as long as you have one, you can use as much as you want.
Which is a nice change from World 1.
Also, the platforms at the end of this level are on a global cycle, and so they start as soon as you enter the level. And so Nacho's trying to get through the level quickly enough to not miss that cycle.
Yeah, interestingly, these first 2 cycles are like, as soon as you get close to them, they show up. But the very last one after this one is like on a universal timer. So if you go fast enough, you should get like a roughly the same split each time.
Yeah, so that cycle, it looked like he just barely missed it when he got there because the platform's there, but in real time you can't make that cycle.
Yeah,
the
the task does it.
the task barely makes that cycle.
I think there's like literally 1 or 2 frames of leeway that the task
Yeah,
has. to
and
make it.
in your movement through the entire level, so it's not
There's
something.
no way a human can make that.
Yeah,
Alright, now we're on to possibly
The
Well,
biggest skip in
this
the
is
game.
the biggest
the
skip in the
biggest
game.
skip.
Yeah, if you ever played this casually, this is probably the worst level you would ever remember because it's a gigantic maze. But we're gonna skip it all.
Yep.
Yeah, this is just one giant maze of taking Pac-Man chains to different areas to open different things. But we're gonna go right ahead
And
and
that
do
just
it.
saved like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's a
Right there.
humongous invisible wall there, so you can't just like casually jump over here, because otherwise you would obviously skip most of this level. But you can actually just rev underneath it.
Now we're gonna rev roll over
Nice.
here.
And hit
And
that switch to make the packed out chain at the end spawn.
yeah.
Yes, and 100% this level is a nightmare because I think it has something like 650 dots.
Yep.
And if you eat this chain and you've missed something, you're stuck in the last area and there's no way out and there's no way to death abuse.
Yeah, you gotta
so,
start it all
So you
over.
gotta do the whole level again. I think this level takes something like 15 minutes to 100%.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Roughly, yeah.
See if he gets the skip here at the end.
Oh, I think
Oh.
you got it.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah!
Yes.
Awesome.
So that was weight skip. You have a few frames to jump at the end of a pack dot chain, and if you hit the loading or the ending points from that, it skips this little waiting animation you got to sit through.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I think it's like
something
8
like
frames.
that.
yeah, and there's a cutscene where Spooky
All right, there's a
yells at you.
pretty hard stun lock here.
This is the final boss too, so time is gonna be
Nice.
coming up
That's the
soon.
first phase.
So it's phase one.
These are extremely precise.
Yes, the second phase is actually identical to the first one.
Yep.
This fight is supposed to be way harder than this.
Ah,
All right, so
I'm
he's-
just
Just
gonna
gonna
death
go
abuse
for it
you.
again.
let's try that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's faster just to do
He does
it.
death abuse to set it up again.
Huh?
All right, I'll chase him this time.
Chase him down. So originally, this was a much harder boss fight because you had to chase him down for each hit. But luckily, the stun lock exists for the first 2 phases.
Yeah.
And then on third phase, you can get 1 hit on stun lock, realistically, and then the last you got to chase him down for.
yeah,
Yeah.
so time's gonna actually be coming up pretty soon when he gets the.
Last
He's got 2
hit
more
here.
hits on this boss, and then there'll be time. So here comes time.
And time.
Time.
43. That's
Wow,
a really
that's
good.
Wow,
a really good
43.
run.
That's
a Yes.
43-39.
a
All
really
right,
good
That's
good.
really good.
Very good.
Great job, man.
Yeah,
Thank
that's within a minute of PB.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a really
Wow,
really
that's
good
really
time,
good.
especially for a marathon.
Yeah.
very, very glad that happened.
I'll shout out some people.
That was a very good showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Spooky gets trapped back under the big tree in Pack Village thanks to the power of the golden fruits.
Let's just enjoy this cutscene.
It's a very beautiful cutscene.
Hey, remember Pac Village? We were there for like, what, 8
Remember all
seconds?
these characters?
Yeah, remember all these characters we definitely saw
Remember
at some point in the
policeman?
game?
Yeah,
And
so we get to see
And the firefighter.
the best character.
Yeah,
of
my
any
favorite was the
video
guy with
game.
the sunglasses.
But here comes the best character, the
Pac
Pac Dog.
Pac
Yeah,
Franker Z.
Pac
Pac
Franker
Franker
Z.
Z.
There he is.
These little free him again?
All right, Chomp Chomp, you know what
His
to
name
do.
is Chomp Chomp.
Yep.
I mean, how can you go this
Uh-oh.
entire game without eating
Let's
a single
get out of
ghost?
here.
Yeah, this dog is brutal.
Yeah.
He is insane.
Still helping protect the village from the scourge of Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde.
I just thought of something. If the dog knows to chase the ghost, why didn't he when the ghost came in the beginning?
Also, there he is.
Wasn't
good
he like
question.
asleep or something?
No,
Yeah,
he
he
woke.
was
He woke up. He
Oh, I
woke up
forget-
during the cutscenes.
I forget the lore of this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
he does wake
Wait.
up, that's right.
There's lore to this game?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's
Yeah.
all these people that are so happy.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. Shout outs to the Pac-Man community. They're awesome.
Indeed.
Join the Discord.
And shout outs to AGDQ.
Yeah, if you want to
for-
learn this game, join the Pac-Man Discord. Or if you want to learn any Pac-Man game, join the Pac-Man
Yeah, the
Discord.
Pac-Man Discord has all the Pac-Man games you'll need to learn to run,
Yeah. And,
including World 2. So
Did.
check it out.
and shout outs to AGDQ for letting the community show this game off. I know people have been submitting this game since I think like 2014, and we finally
I'm
got it in.
very glad
this
that it
year,
got
so,
in.
So we're happy it got in.
Definitely
so thank
worth
you guys.
showing.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, with that, we got...
Thank you very much.